Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Broku no Hero. In this video, we're talking about Black Clover and the future of the series. What's going to happen next? What can happen next? What's been built up? What's been foreshadowed? That's what we're talking about. And I'm doing this video because so many people think that this is the ending of Black Clover. This arc with the devil, that this is the final villain, this is the final arc. And, well, there's a lot of information that goes against that. One is Tabata has said that he wants this to be a series as long as Naruto. Naruto is a 700 chapter series. Black Clover is only in the low 200s, so it is likely that, this isn't even close to being done. Number two reason is that Black Clover was the 11th highest selling manga last year, and its anime is quite profitable. There are several spin-offs of the series. There's a video game which shows that this series is profitable because they do other stuff besides just the manga. So it would make no sense for this to be ending now if you do have the 11th highest selling manga. And Shonen Jump and TV Tokyo have had faith in Black Clover to be a really good long-running series, and honestly, I do see that too. So I do not see this being the ending, as it wouldn't also make sense. It doesn't feel like Austin, are ready to be the Wizard King yet, and that's how this series is probably going to end, is one of them will become the Wizard King. But this video is talking about the other things that will happen after this arc, or what can happen, and that's just what it's about. Please leave a like if you enjoy this video, and then comment your thoughts down below, and also subscribe if you do enjoy. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, and that's going to be like other races that can be included into this series. And first, let's just talk about the Dwarves. We just had them being introduced like 15 chapters ago or so. They're introduced as a race, and Charmy is a half-dwarf. She's the only actual dwarf that we know. Now, people do want to say that, oh, well, Asta's a dwarf too because the devil called Asta a dwarf. And, well, I don't agree with that. I think the devil was just using the dwarf term as a word for just calling somebody short, because Asta is short. And as for Asta, is he a dwarf? Is he half-dwarf? There's not really much evidence for that, I would say. But anyways, Charmy's the only for sure dwarf character we know, and she's a half-dwarf. And then we know that dwarves, they exist in Black Clover, as stated by Mimosa. They are people with powerful mana, and they are also basically people that, they're a people that crafts very powerful items. And so it seems like dwarves have advanced mana compared to humans, as Charmy's mana was comparable to an elven level of mana. So it seems dwarves have extended levels of mana, and Mimosa says they have unique skills, and if they are anything like dwarves from most fantasy or mythology settings, the dwarves are great at crafting things. And also, depends on how much Tabata wants to take inspiration from Norse mythology. Dwarves in Norse mythology have greater physical strength than men, so dwarves could have greater physical strength, greater mana, and have the ability to craft things. Dwarves, they could be great villains or allies in this series as something that could happen next. In fact, when I talk to the Diamond Kingdom later, that's going to be something we'll bring up again as dwarves. The next thing we're talking about in terms of what villains could be is giants or Jotuns. Jotuns are quote-unquote giants from Norse mythology. Jotuns, or the Jotnar, are not technically giants in size. A Jotnar is just a race. A lot are giants, a lot are, normal-sized, human sized, and a lot are even smaller. But giants are basically the necessary evil in the world of Norse mythology, because Norse mythology revolves around chaos and order. And the Jotnar are the chaos part of that equation. Jotuns would just be like basically extreme beings of physical strength, could probably use the four main elements, earth, water, wind, and fire, because a lot of times in Norse mythology, basically the Jotnar are like earth, or like benders, like from Avatar, where they can manipulate the different elements, but aren't necessarily magical. Some do have magic though, and also, they'd be basically shapeshifters, so they could have a lot of different things to be villains, and they could be good too, because there's also a lot of good Jotnar or Jotuns in Norse mythology, where they are alongside the Aesir, which are the Norse gods, and man, even though most are against the Aesir and against Aesir's creations, that's man. It's not really a race, but the group I want to see most in Black Clover are Vikings. And the very possible thing is that they are from the Spade Kingdom. The Spade Kingdom is known as a military power from the north that is like cold, misty, and snowy, and that could mean that the Spade Kingdom might be like Scandinavia. At times it was a military power, especially when it had, the Vikings were raiding. Vikings nearly took over all of huge parts of Europe, and if the Vikings had actually been able to band together and form great armies, they would have completely conquered Europe. Like, if the Great Heathen Army wasn't just a temporary thing and they expanded on it and made the Great Heathen Army greater, the Vikings would have been one of the most powerful military powers in the world. But as for Vikings being in Black Clover, it'd be really cool to see them using, like, weapons like Yami does, where they use reinforced magic on their weapons. I'd love to see Vikings with swords, shields, and axes. That would be really a great way to bring in a villain or just a group of people that has them basically have similar power to the already preset power system, but also expand on it. And that could be with the thing for rune magic. There are already runes that have been shown in a Black Clover. That it was when it showed the flashback to the first Wizard King when he was studying magic. There are symbols, or rune symbols, and stav runes on one of the vases. Now, people have, in my comments, have said, oh no, those are just broken crystals. They don't really look like broken crystals to me. Only a few of them can even look remotely similar, but there are blatant runes there, so it just kind of goes against the fact of it actually being broken crystals. So imagine Vikings they're similar to humans of the Clover Kingdom, but they're more aggressive, they are physically stronger, they have maybe equal or maybe more magic, but the rune magic amplifies their power or gives them maybe a different magic type when they use it. And then also using weapons way more often than the people in Black Clover do. Yami is one of the few people who uses reinforcement magic on his weapons to basically attack. The Vikings, that could be a normality for them, which would make it hard for a lot of people to fight against. Another sort of race that could be introduced into Black Clover are gods. We do know that there are gods and that there are multiple gods in Black Clover. There are stated to be gods of fate. There are stated to be just gods when Patri says the elves mana rivaled the gods. And so there are gods in Black Clover, and it also, makes sense that there's gods because there are realms, and then there's a realm of the afterlife. So that means that, if you introduce realms and introduce afterlives, there's more likely going to be actual gods in the series. And now, I really do hope that it's Norse gods, but I also hope it's a multiple pantheon world of gods. So you could have Norse gods like Thor and Odin and Freya. Then you got the Greek gods like Zeus, Hercules, and those other great gods. And Zeus has already been sort of foreshadowed in Black Clover when Vril drew a thunder god. And Norse gods, there's a lot of Norse references, so Norse gods are also possible. And the gods of fate, either that's probably going to be the Norns of Norse mythology, or it's going to be the actual fates from Greek mythology. Now, I do think it's more likely that Vanessa is a Norn rather than a fate, because Norns are stated to be witches, and Vanessa is a witch, and she uses thread magic. Now, fates do use threads as well, but I would say it's more likely she's a Norn rather than a fate, or at least related to one. And, having a god, you can have good gods and evil gods in Black Clover, or maybe when the race of the devils, somehow break through and they can attack the Earth or Midgard, then the gods will help them fight the devil. And so, like I said, there could be good gods, like Thor, or there could be bad gods, like Loki. Loki, in Norse mythology, is a lot more mischievous than actually evil. He's really only truly evil on Ragnarok, where he goes and joins the side of the Jotuns against the gods of the Aesir and man. But besides that, most of his whole life, he is pretty good, except for when he also is the cause of Baldur's death. Other things that we can see, and these are the more likely ones I would say, is just other kingdoms coming to fruition. We still have the Heart Kingdom, which is an ally of the Clover Kingdom, so we could go there as an arc for maybe training or meeting new people, or then maybe they need the aid of the Clover Kingdom, but we would probably not go against them. In fact, what I'm really hoping for is at the conclusion of this arc, with the Clover Kingdom having no Wizard King, having a lot of their captains or magic knights or warriors or infrastructure destroyed from the war against the elves, having maybe the Spade Kingdom invade or the Diamond Kingdom invade, or a partnership, an ally between the two, like a Diamond and Spade ally, and they attack and they invade the Clover Kingdom, and then the Heart Kingdom comes, and it's like not really a civil war, but a massive war, 2 kingdoms versus 2 kingdoms. I think that'd be cool. And then you'd have a concept of this war going on, and then you'd have Mars and Ladros on the inside of the Diamond Kingdom, basically acting as, I guess, spies or rebels to try and sway the Diamond Kingdom to the side of the Clover and Heart Kingdoms. Diamond is heavily foreshadowed to basically be a future thing. Mars and Ladros are on the inside trying to fix things. Morris is a leader of the Diamond Kingdom who does experiments. He's what has done the stuff to Fauna and Mars. His experiments could be very hard to fight and could be a more powerful villain than the Devil. I mean, he created Mars and Fauna. If he got access to more powerful things, then he could do even greater things. And this is where the Dwarves come into the Diamond Kingdom. Based on where the Dwarves live, and based on the image we got of the Dwarves of where that dwarf was at, there was crystals and diamonds in the background. They live in places where these things exist a lot, and so it would be the most logical place to say that the dwarves live in the Diamond Kingdom, and thus maybe Morris gets hand on some of these dwarves and creates experiments with dwarves, which could make a villain more powerful than the Devil, or just as powerful, or an army of these things, which they're not as powerful as the Devil, but together, this army of them, or a group of them, is more powerful than himself. There's also the Land of the Sun. Maybe like a samurai war happens, and they attack the Clover Kingdom, or something like that, and it's a good idea of Yami facing his former home and protecting his new home. We still have the Witch's Forest, and we still have the Witch Queen out and about. The Witch Queen was somewhat of a neutral force, but is more so neutral, but is all about herself. And I do have a theory about who the Witch Queen really is, and I'm gonna make a video on that hopefully in the next few weeks. I think I've got a lot of evidence that she is, not just the Queen of the Witches, but she is super special and might have ties to actual gods and goddesses of different pantheons. But that's really, going to be it for now. There are other realms in Black Clover. I don't know if those are going to be expanded on, but they can be. But yeah, there's a lot of things, guys. Lots of things that this series can go into. The series does not have to end anytime soon. There is a lot of things. And when people say, oh, the Devil's too strong, how is there ever going to be a villain stronger than him? Well, one, there doesn't need to be a villain stronger than him, because the characters can be stronger and still have to deal with somebody weaker. And like I said, there could just be a villain group where collectively they're as strong or stronger than him, but individually they are weaker than him. But also, I mean, it's just a devil. There could still be dwarves, giants, there could be gods stronger than the devil. And like I said, just groups of people could be stronger than the devil. But that's what I think, guys. What do you guys think is next for Black Clover? Do you think it's any of these things I mentioned, or is it something completely different that I did not mention? Let me know. Please do leave a like if you enjoyed, guys. Comment and subscribe. Hope you guys all have an amazing day. Plus...